So China is changing. It is the opportunity back when I went there first was very much around take a product from a production line in China and ship it anywhere in the world, and it took like 2 months to get it from one place to the other. Today it's very different for us in taking products out of there. We can do it in 2 days, so that's changed in a big way. China itself has changed as well, as it's now a market as well as a source. So it's a market for the products. So a lot of the product we make sells on the Chinese in the retail stores in China. So there's great opportunity for companies to look at China as a marketplace. And the one piece of advice that we would give to people who are looking at China is the first thing we would say is make sure you understand and you know what you're trying to do when you go to China. Because there's probably two reasons why you're going there. One is because you want to take advantage of the manufacturing opportunity. And the second one is you want to take advantage of the growing middle class market. They're completely different. And we would always say, don't try and do both in the one facility or the one entity. Keep them separate. Because you have to try and simplify and take the confusion out of it. And that's a really important point. From an Irish context, you look at the dairy sector, the agriculture opportunity, and again, look at the meat industry there is huge. And the Irish companies, through Borbia, have been doing very well there. I think Borbia has done a great job there, and I think their whole sustainability initiative and about portraying Ireland as a green location, which is great, which it is, and it's great. We have a great reputation for high quality food and all that. So that's a great opportunity, and Irish companies seem to be doing very well in that space. And the dairy sector again is great. I think the big thing that I would say is, take China out of the picture. What we really have to get great at is we have to get great at building brands, because that's what they're looking for, and that's where you get the premium. And we don't want to be selling the commodity. We don't want to be selling the raw material on its own, because you're not going to make you're not going to create value with that. So by building the brand, you create and capture the value. And if you look at China itself has been phenomenal at creating value, but has been very weak at capturing value. Now that's about to change, because they are starting to develop brands. But I think that's for Ireland as well. We have just as good an opportunity to capture value as well. When we went to China first back in '96, China was, to me, it was a knowledge-based challenge. And from '96 to 2003, that's the way it remained. All I had to do was find a name card of a factory that was making a product that I had a requirement for, and I was in business. It was simple, right? You just had to find a factory, and there was no fear that anyone would ever connect the ends. So you ship the product from the factory to the customer. And it was pretty straightforward. That changed, and around 2003 we saw a big change. We saw that now China is about execution. It's no longer a knowledge-based challenge, it's an execution-based challenge. You could have 1,000 factories making the same product, and it doesn't matter. You still have an awful lot of work to do between getting it from that factory to shipping it to a consumer anywhere in the world. And that's what you need is world-class execution, and that's what we do. So we talk about today that geography is history. So we don't look at China any different than we look at the US or Europe. We look at, okay, this is where we're going to make the product, and this is where we're going to ship it to. And we're going to do it in the best way possible. We're going to use the best location and the best facilities wherever we will do it in the world. And still China for us is still the best location for the kind of products that we work with. It's gone through a lot of change over the years. I mean, it was a place to make cheap products when I went there first. It then became a cheap place to make products. But today it's the only place to make the products that we work with, and that's because of the ecosystem of raw materials, the skilled workforce, and also the logistics model to be able to get the product out of there. We've seen companies go in and they've gone in with looking for the red carpet treatment and roll out. We went into China and we didn't have any money, so it was, we had nothing to lose, and that was a great attitude. And it also sent a message to the companies we worked with that we didn't have any money, and so there was nothing to take. So it was kind of work with us and we'll build something, as opposed to going in with a big brand with lots of money and all that. Then you become a target, and same anywhere in the world. So for us, and what we've seen over the years, we've seen companies go into China and they talk about joint ventures and partnerships and all that kind of things. I mean, I think we were in Shenzhen, we were one of the first wholly foreign-owned enterprises, called a WOFE, because we didn't want partnerships, we didn't want joint ventures. And we talk about, as a company, developing partnerships, delivering peace of mind as our purpose. But we're very specific. We partners with our suppliers, we partners with our customers, but we always own 100% of our entities. And that's important for us because we wanted to control it and we wanted to grow it. And we wanted to control over how we were building the company and about how the culture was shaped and all that. But we've seen foreign companies go into China and we lose huge money because they come there with the wrong approach. They come there with, this is how it's worked for us in the US and this is how it's worked for us in Europe and this is how it's going to work for us in China. And it's not like that. You've got to be respectful of culture and of different ways of operating, and you've got to be more careful of that. And I don't speak Chinese. People think it's a disadvantage. I think it's a great advantage because I sit in a meeting. I say I've been 17 years in China watching a silent movie, and I sit in a meeting with some of my colleagues, and there's everyone's speaking Chinese, and I'm sitting in a meeting, and I'm just looking around the table, and I know that this is not going well. There's something wrong here. Somebody's not happy. And it's easy to pick up on this stuff, and it allows you to kind of really to dig and to find out what's really happening, and that's pretty powerful. So we talk about EQ is far more important than IQ in China because you really have to pick up the senses and make sure you've got the right relationships and that you're not offending people and you're being cautious and careful about how you're moving forward.